Okay. Hello. Okay, everyone. Hang tight. Figuring this shit out. Okay. Those tools, meeting settings, background. Upon entry, play, join, and leave sound. Always show me the controls. Okay, cool. That's sorted. And just, I want the video. Great. And then tools. What the fuck? Waiting room. Start video. Name on me. Record to computer. Nope. Yes. Okay, cool. All is well. Hello, hello. We will begin this rodeo. Okay, don't mind my otter. It's actually pretty useful, even though I don't use it as much as I could. So we are here for the monthly read for Augustus, the the eighth month of the year. Okay. So, in addition to that, obviously, we're pulling some individual questions for those who are here from Doing the Most, my cards and channeling group, in my Patreon. For those of you on YouTube who want to get readings from me, Patreon is the cheapest way for you to do that. Whether you want the monthly read, which you can have at any price point, or if you want an individual card pull, which you can do for $10 a month. So, now that I've said all the spiel, let's see who wants to participate in the monthly read. Any of these? Nah. Yes. Yes. Okay, new decks on deck. Okay, other decks too. And Manzel's tarot has been very busy this season. I mean, understandably, it's very beautiful. Any other decks? Okay, so we're gonna see who's who here. Monthly read. What do we need to know for August? Astrologically, all the astrology homies have been telling me that this is a hot spot month. So considering how July was, I'm kind of like, what does that even mean? But we're going to see. We know that it is about the sun, willpower. Okay. We know it's about being centered and having equilibrium in your solar system. Okay. In your universe. Let's see. Concern, opportunity, obstacle, advantage, aversion. Oh, there's two key cards, which means we have a skeleton key card and we have a keystone key card. So my new decks are, I mean, if you've been around, you know Manzel's tarot. The box tells you nothing about the beauty of the cards. You'll have to see that when I turn it over. However, at Oregon Country Fair, which I did this month, which was a ball, I bought this deck from this artist who both drew all the images and wrote the things on the cards, named Shauna Trumbulley. And so this is the messengers, deliveries, plant, and animal oracle deck. So let's just call it a plant and animal oracle deck. Okay. And then the other deck that we will be utilizing is this one I just got. But I've been using at Mystic Journey Bookstore, where I work on Sundays, if you are in the LA area. And that's the Divine Doors deck by Andres and Gracia. This deck is so amazing and beautiful. And every card is a door from Shutterstock. What is it called? From Shutterstock and Pexels, except for 4 of the cards, which were directly sourced from somebody. So there's a lot of beautiful doors in here from all over the world. So we're going to get to the key card last, because that's also for the Doing the Most people, whereas the monthly read is just the C.O.A. Concern, opportunity, obstacle, and advantage, aversion. So we have Manzel's tarot. Let's get into that now. Our concern, should we choose to not be in denial, is, oh, my motherfucker. Wait, the Hierophant. Boom. How about that? The Hierophant. Okay. Major Arcana. Okay. Spiritual purpose, existence. Why do you need me? Okay. And I like that the Hierophant is here because what I believe about the Hierophant, which is I call my card because before I started reading cards, I got followed around by the Eight of Swords and literally would find, ooh, the gang's all here. Apparently 2 p.m. is the time and the place. Um, so uh I even like the eight of diamonds I would see all the time. And recently I crossed a 10 of diamonds in the street before I came um to my work, which I don't mind because I like the 10 of swords. I think of it as the medic cards. But when I started reading cards, the Hierophant followed me around. And so the way that I think about this is that, the Hierophant is someone who has to do their own spiritual investigation and also recently I recognize it's also someone who doesn't their see spirituality as separate from existence. It's not somebody who's necessarily like religious or has a tradition or anything like that. It's somebody who sees the connectedness of all things, right? So we could talk about this in the quantum physics perspective of like the prime radiant, right? Everything is one thing. Everything is made up of a single atom moving at infinite speed, creating our bodies, the buildings, the cars that we use and stuff. But for the Hierophant, this is somebody who perceives the connectedness of all things and investigates that curiosity, especially when it seems contradictory, right? Like, how can this be related to that? How can this have happened to me? Why did I need to have this experience? The Hierophant is someone who wants a good answer, okay? And by good answer doesn't mean something that just makes you complacent or always right or in denial. It's something that's true and it's something that's sustainably true, right? It's something that continues to show you what it is. So the investigation of what's true and what it is can't exclude your experience, the experience that you actually have. It can't exclude existence itself, which is everything. So the Hierophant is also not out here in these life streets being like, why am I having experiences? You're a human being. You're having a human being's experiences, and these are your selection of experiences, and you make of that what you will, right? But the opportunity, the concern in this, well, we'll see what the opportunity obstacle card is. But the concern about this is like, how much ownership will you take in your experience? And that doesn't mean, and by the way, ownership doesn't mean how hard on yourself will you be about what is happening to you. Because I think the invention of humanity has a lot of people really fucked up about what accountability means. Accountability isn't slog. I mean, obviously, there's like a lot of nihilism and supremacy ideation and negation and limitation that you have to go through in order to lighten your load. Sure. Okay. Yes. But that's a humanity thing. That's not an existential thing. So, existentially speaking, the Hierophant is always lightening their load by trusting existence and utilizing that direct line to not be in confusion about why they're having a human experience. There doesn't mean there isn't confusion. It just means that they're always investigating their confusion from a place of finding a sustainable truth while relying upon the very tools, existence, experience themselves, others that they need in order to figure shit out, right? So this is not a negator, okay? This is a inclusive aspect of this person. And intolerant denial would be probably the rough side of that. And there's some very Sagittarian qualities in this, but obviously we see some Capricornian energy here with the moon like this. Always utilize your direct line to the universe. Everybody has that because it's the thing that included them. So no human being can be like, you shouldn't exist. Too late. That's why I always say, if you have a problem with me, take it up with existence. Thanks. All right. So our opportunity obstacle, how are we treating the Hierophant card? The Four of Pentacles. I kind of like this actually for how we're treating it, in the deck that I first learned how that tarot was real and that it worked and card reading worked was, why the fuck did it get so dark all of a sudden? Okay. I was like, what the fuck? So in my first deck, the Herbal Tarot, the Four of Pentacles is either letting things pass through you and not actually like picking up on the the meaning or the significance of something that's happening. Okay. And then the other side of that is also being so full of information that you don't actually have the capacity to take on more because you need to sift and file through what is already happening, which, next year being the year of the hermit in general makes total sense for the fact that people are going to be, sifting through and unpacking a lot of stuff. But I think that the Four of Pentacles, particularly when we look at the Hierophant with the moon here, and then at the Four of Pentacles, the moon is the head. Okay. So it's like, there's no not feeling your way through this, and having a physical experience, AKA having a body and being on the earth and having to deal with material things, is no less emotional and no less spiritual than anything else. You wouldn't literally be able to have an emotional, intellectual, or spiritual experience in a physical body if it was not intrinsically capable and connected to those things, because it would have no capacity to hold those things if it was not in enough alignment with those things to be compatible with them, right? In the same way that I always talk about neutrons, the only element that exists without neutrons is hydrogen, vaporous, odorless, gaseous air. Okay, that just floats in the ethers. It's the neutron holding the protons and the electrons. It's the neutral holding the positive and the negative that creates all matter in the universe. So, we have to appreciate, or whatever, do whatever you want. You don't have to do anything, but appreciate the fact that like a physical experience is a compact and densified spiritual, emotional, I'm not going to call it intellectual because I think that's a human invention, but let's say consciousness, awareness experience that has somehow been made into even more matter, even more condensed material atoms than before. And I think that you can't not have the capacity to be yourself. Okay. No one gets away from the fact that they exist. So I also think that's a Hierophant thing. Like, you exist. That's the one thing you don't have consent in, but it is the only thing that allows for you to have consent. You have to be conscious of your existence to have any other experience in existence. So the idea that you should not be here is not possible. It's literally not possible. So knowing that, and knowing that you exist and you have a self, and then that's your luggage, your work, your body of work, then why wouldn't you be also then given the capacity to handle yourself? Like, what kind of sick fuck do you think is running the universe? The same that's running the earth? No. But the Four of Pentacles, first of all, we know that nobody runs the earth. Earth runs the earth. Okay. Respect. Okay. I almost heard all the elementals at once be like, bitches, you don't run anything. Understand. Okay. Got that. But Four of Pentacles is all them thoughts in the middle of your other intelligences. And I would say intellectual intelligence is supposed to support your emotional intelligence and your physical intelligence. If you feel ill, your intellect should be like, what can we get you to feel better? Lay down. It shouldn't be like, we need to go to work. Okay. And if you're unhappy in a work or a relationship, your intellect shouldn't be like, you can't afford to be unhappy. Your intellect is supposed to support your stupid ass. So let it support your stupid ass. And the Four of Pentacles is absolutely about like filtering through your feelings. There's no feeling if there's not a belief, right? If I don't believe something about something, how do I know how to feel about it? If I believe that oppression is wrong, that's why I feel emotionally antagonistic towards it, right? Let it support your stupid ass. Let the ass be stupid. You're not supposed to be thinking with your ass. So think with the part of your head that's meant for that. With the Four of Pentacles, though, it's very important to just be like, okay, what are my feelings explaining to me? What is my body explaining to me? And how can my intellect support that? What is my spirit explaining to me? And how can my intellect support that, right? Is spirit explaining, hey, I don't know where we're going to end up, but I know we don't want to be here, right? Spirit will know that before emotions or body knows that, unless your shit is cohesive, in which case maybe one of those other aspects knows it first. But with this being the opportunity, the obstacle, it's like, are you going to let everything run through you like existential diarrhea? Or are you going to sit with what is in you and decide what is worth carrying, right? Because you're supposed to have your own luggage. You're supposed to exist. Your baggage weighs nothing. It doesn't mean that you won't have negative experiences. It just means that like that's a part of your experience that's supposed to be in your baggage for as long as you choose to carry it around. If you feel weighed down by baggage that's somebody else's shit, so then you have to review where you got that baggage, what year, was it a person, place, or thing that gave it to you? Can you return it to sender? And if you can't return it to sender, will you give it to goodwill? Existentially speaking, where goodwill is, what did I learn from this experience that I otherwise would not have learned at this time that supports me being who I most prefer? I got to add that to people because sometimes people will be like, what I learned is bitches ain't shit. That supports me in becoming more of who I prefer, means bitches ain't shit, and that's none of my motherfucking business. So I might as well not be a bitch who isn't shit and get back to doing what I need to do, right? So we want to make sure that we're never outsourcing our accountability and our responsibility. Pentacles is about your legacy, reaping what you sow, your environment, your body, your lineage. So of all the suits, Pentacles is about your relationship with the world, okay? Like your relationship with the earth, with the universe. So it's pretty expansive of a suit. It's beyond what you physically do. It's about what you think you know about anything. Now, last but not least, we have the advantage of the aversion. What about our character? Is helping or hurting us in these circumstances? Oh, it wants me to change the cards. Well, in the true Roma style that I learned when I was in Venice, Italy, and got a reading from such a person, Roma Italian. You don't look at the card. You don't even know what it is. It's none of your fucking business. So, knowing that, let's see, is this card in my hand the advantage aversion? Is this card? All right, our advantage aversion card is the Knight of Wands, Karina Rosella, who used to be a Rise Up Good Witch, and now they're something else as they are becoming, but right now they're just Karina Rosella. Calls the Knight of Wands the most dangerous card in the tarot deck. And I always like their explanation about it. They're like, you know, Wands being the suit of relationships with other people in groups, whereas Cups is one-on-one relationships, right? Like Wands is the groups, my family, my friends, my exes, my colleagues, my country people. So Wands being this element that's so reliant upon relationship, fire being the only suit that can't exist without consuming something else, right? That sometimes with the Knight of Wands, it's someone who becomes sort of like eager to perform what needs to be done as opposed to have the experience of what needs to be done, right? So the example that Karina always uses is that it's like, you know, a white guy, cishet white guy who realizes that like it is true, oppression is real, and like his intersection of identity has been creating lots of oppression. And so he starts going to meetings, and he goes to like one meeting and he learns some stuff. And then in the next meeting, he's speaking over people to explain what he learned in the first meeting in order to demonstrate and perform that he understands the message. I'm assuming that the understanding of that message is for other people to know outside of him other than himself, right? So the Knight of Wands sometimes assumes that like they are supposed to show you that they know something as opposed to just be content in the knowledge of that and allow that to be enough. And I think that that's a perfect advantage aversion card, right? What about your character helps or hurts you is where you're performing your identity and where you're actually keeping it a buck. And I was just saying to a friend who has to have like a sticky conversation with somebody, a potentially sticky conversation with somebody. I was like, you know, and I've been saying this to so many clients recently, the sexy part of intimacy is when you don't know what's going to happen. And so you have to show up as authentically as possible and be very present to the circumstances in order to know where it's going, right? When you have a disagreement or a concern with a loved one and you have to address it with them and you don't know how they're going to take it, that's the sexy part of intimacy. That's the present, quick, like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like the wallless, borderless experience of existence when you don't know how something's going to happen. You show up as authentically as you can. You reflect yourself to others. Others show you how much of you they can actually perceive. And they also show you how much of themselves they're willing to show you and let you perceive. And you're going to perceive whatever of them that you're actually capable of getting. And in the crux of all that happening, you may love each other more or less as a result of that experience. And that is the alive part of being in relationship with people. That is the fire part of being in relationship with people. It's the part that you don't know whether it's going to last or not. You don't know how long that fire is going to burn. You don't know how sustainable that fire is. You don't know if it's an eternal flame. Okay. But the Knight of Wands is there to for sure fuck around and find out. And we always know that knights are about honor and reputation and like proving oneself, honestly. So there is something about that energy already from the Knight being on wands that sort of, I think, causes people to be a little overzealous about what they have decided that they understand. Where you have to do it's like, no, we don't have to understand something and everyone get on a soapbox at once and be like, and what I know now is that when you do this, it's like, it's okay. You can just know it and like keep it pushing. So once you figure out what this shit is, act like you know. Um, or just know. I don't want to say act like you know because I don't think knowing is acting. Knowing is synonymous with doing. It's like sitting here and being like, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. You don't do that because you know you can do that. I don't have to say, raise my hand, wiggle my fingers. I can just do that. So that's what knowledge is. It's not so intellectual. It's not so performative. You're not acting, you're doing. So do as you know and see the results. And if you're not getting the results that you want from what you do as you know, then do better. Um, do differently is what I mean by better. So now we're going to pull from this the Messenger's Delivery Plant and Animal Oracle deck. Mouthful. By Shauna Trumbulley. What is the key card? What is the key card? Give it to us. Existence. August. Leo season. Virgo. Leo to Virgo season. What do you have to tell us? What's good? They all, because they're so smooth, you know, when the deck is new and it's slippery. Okay. That card is picked. And now I want to pick our door. And I'll do this so that we can